I'd like to welcome everyone back to my local canyon. Another nice day out. Those mountaintops glistening in the sun. I'm on the little, I don't even know what it would be called, peak above the road, just over this little hedge. The road continues, and it's pretty steep. So usually people don't make their way up here, and I've never had a problem with trash up here. But already, something about the season, the Christmas season, it's bringing out a new wave. This isn't even the worst part, but just weird areas where people shouldn't even be walking. Somehow they manage to leave trash behind. They could explore all they want, do it drunk all they want. I'll see if I have room in my bags to come back for those. I've been out here for a while already, just trying to gauge the scene. These are not my bags. If they're more piss bags, I'm going to be pissed. And they are. And that's a perfect segue. Perfect fucking segue into this next little segment I'd like to call Why We Should Defund the Homeless. Now, it's a joke. You can't. Believe me, I want that $3.64 in that little paper cup in front of them, but you know, that's their privilege for the day. They'll take their earnings. We can still find a way to take it from them, but that'll take time. That's a joke, of course, but for now, defund the homeless. What does that mean? Well, those piss bottles over there, I'm sorry, a truck full of rowdy teenagers aren't peeing 20 bottles worth of piss and then hucking them up this edge point, whatever this is up here. And it's sad because I always feel sympathy first for the underprivileged, especially people with no homes, no families. And sadly, this is a different type of homeless. You don't want to blame the people laying on the street corner, the common panhandlers. They're not usually a part of this excessive litter problem we see, but sadly a lot of them, it's the homeless people living in cars, because that gives them a chance for their trash to accumulate. And you know, there's dumpsters out there surely, but those are being locked now. It's weird that even throwing away trash is something that's hard to do. I'm sure there's places they will probably make you pay. It's hard to find free ones, which is, yeah, another problem in itself. But so sadly, you get homeless people, don't have bathrooms, they have to pee in bottles, they have to shit in bags, gross shit, and there's no other place to leave it, or there probably is, but they choose the canyon because it's easy, it's out of sight, out of mind. And another reason why I can't take that stuff. I can't 20 piss bottles in my car, that'd be fucking absurd. So I have to find a way, have to find a way to slowly but surely make progress in this area. It's going to be hard, a lot harder than I thought. First starting this, I thought I'd film a couple videos and I'd have to switch places. But I could easily see this whole series now just being about filming this little canyon in my hometown. It's really strange though. This is still, well, not strange, but awful. The first area I cleaned was just on the other side. I guess this is the parallel aisle. I haven't even gone up the canyon yet. And actually I ventured up there with a friend the other day. We cleaned out one little runoff area, but God almighty, the fucking eyesore we saw down in the bushes below. Again, you'll see it when I show you guys, but it can only be these homeless people who live in cars because it's just trash bags. Yeah, homeless people carry around trash, but they drive up here and it's just a good drop-off spot. Oh, and yeah, obviously, you know, I never say punish them. You can't punish these poor people, some of which are probably still, you know, good people. I think a majority of them are. But you get these negatives, these sad negatives. At least this guy put them in bags. Put them in bags for me. But I'm always thinking about solutions, what I can do. And I think one of the best ones I thought of after trying those VR headsets, which are fun but fucking scary at the same time, it proved to me that there's probably no way we're in a simulation already. Life, I think, wants us to believe it sometimes. It's a trick it plays, or not everyone, people who think about it, like the Matrix, ooh. But that, I think, with this not AI, with this VR stuff, it's a way deeper insight to how far technology has come. Just taking it on and off my head, I couldn't believe it. The difference, my perception, I felt off balance if I was on a elevation in the game, even though I was in my friend's kitchen. But I can't lie, it was fun when it was fun, but I could only play it for like 5-10 minutes at a time. But on the plus side, there's some that came out in 2015 that are extremely cheap. I mean, affordable. You know, not these new ones now that are tipping $1,000, but some affordable VR headsets. We gotta buy those in abundance. 2014, 2015, the early ones. What we do is we go to places, San Francisco, we distribute them to the local homeless, have a go. You know, they'll be on it for a week. They won't know how to take it off or want to. And then eventually, hopefully, they'll pass away and we can just pass it on to the next one. We don't have to buy new ones. We get a solid supply. We just have these VR headsets dwindle down this absurd homeless population that's growing. It'll be perfect. I'll fund it. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a joke thought I had running on my mind recently. I'm always thinking of clever solutions, but I wish it was that simple. VR headsets to the homeless. But no, I think a lot of them, what they really need is just some form of stability, support, whether that comes from other people or shit they need to do in their own lives, which is probably that. A lot of them need to take more self-responsibility, but a lot of them really couldn't control how they ended up in this situation, which is sad, which is why I will never hate these poor people, because even if there's only one person who just nothing went his way, he just feels lost, he feels like everyone hates him, like that would just, you know, that gets to me. You always want to be there for those people. Now, which is why too, as much as these piss bags, piss bottles piss me off, oh, I'm not gonna hunt them down, not that I ever would. You know, I'll make a video about it. But if I would ever run into them in person, I'd never conflict with them. I try to gain some sort of understanding, gauge the scene, understand the character that I'm dealing with. So I've liked certain YouTube channels have inspired me to talk to homeless people, just get a better understanding of where they come from. And I'll be honest, a lot of them lie straight to your face. And the tweakers, they can like sense energy, and so they'll like build on lies. They'll try and defend the lie, and that's when they start rambling and they just start losing it and going on and on and on because they're trying to cover for a lie with another lie, and it just gets crazy. And I have to interject, and I never tell them, oh, you're lying. I just try and give them a compliment of some sort or some sort of motivation, because they respond well to that. You know, you can give them food and all, but just common supportive dialogue. These people really crave, I think, because they're so full of doubt and indecision. But yeah, and you know, I just try to be honest with what I can. One guy I met who was really cool, straight up honest with me. I was gonna give him $20. That's a big deal, because they could either go actually do something good or buy drugs. And this guy, I had my doubts. I asked him, I was straight up like, dude, are you on anything? Or are you using? Because I'll still give you money. Maybe wouldn't have given him as much, but definitely would have got him food. And he was like, admitted to pills. And, you know, pills are an easy out, so maybe could have been worse alternatives. But he, I don't know, seemed relieved that he had to say it. He wasn't like trying to dodge around any bullets. So I was a lot more comfortable then. I'm like, okay. And I kept in touch with him. He eventually got a car, and that's the main thing. You want to see they're actually working to bettering themselves. And this guy told me, the first thing he said was, I'm just trying to get a car with my unemployment money. So I'm like, okay, man, I'll keep in touch with you. If you need anything, a jacket, food, just text me. But in the back of my head, I was like, fuck, if he never gets this car, I can't, give him as much time. Other people who might do change need my time. And fuck, like a month went by. I didn't hear from him, so I was kind of not even thinking about him at that point. And he texted me. He's like, I finally got the car. And I told him if he gets the car, I can get him like a bag of supplies, razor, toothbrush, essential shit. And once he told me that, I was like, okay, perfect. I brought him the bag. And the last thing I heard, he was in, I think, heading to fucking Vegas for some reason. So hopefully everything worked out. But you never know. These people, their lives is a series of ups and downs. This could easily just been an up period for him, which is sad. Oh. But yeah. Homeless people. What an interesting topic. One thing I always thought is funny is there's this you can't blame people either. Oh, I don't give them money, because they probably are going to go buy drugs. And the reality is everyone would probably be on drugs if they're on the street. It's not an excuse for them. Or not making people give them money, but it's just this. They really lose. They can't even resonate with them as people. A lot of normal house dwellers, they're just idea of homeless people. They never interacted with them, and there probably still is a degree of sympathy, of course, because most people, I do think, feel that sympathy, but theirs comes from that stance where I don't want to be there, or they did that to get in that position. I need to do what I need to do to not be in that position, which is good. But I've noticed talking to a lot of my friends are really well-rounded thinkers, and so we agree on a majority of concepts, and they're just as, I don't know the word, I don't want to say sympathetic, but just as understanding as I am as some of these issues. And it's odd, we've encountered other people our age, and it's not that their views are necessarily wrong, but it comes to this common idea of just like every homeless person is not there because of things that didn't go their way, but just of bad things they've done, and almost creates this view that they're just bad people who don't need help. And that's when I start wanting to, of course, try and show. There's awesome YouTube channels out there that can show the real image of homelessness. Whoops. I'll have to wander back this way. Oh. Sorry to cut out there, but I stumbled upon another homeless encampment, one which was not up here before. I've walked to that area many times. I don't know if there's anyone in there or not, but I don't want to disturb them, make them think I'm making a hate documentary about them, a pranked or something. If my friends jump out of the bushes, prank the homeless. But no. But no, yeah, there's good YouTube channels out there. One's called Invisible People, and it creates a really better idea of where homeless people come from. And I don't think a lot of people realize there's a good amount, a lot of homeless people have mental disabilities, but there's a lot of them that have, I don't even know what it would be, disabilities they were born with. Would it be a learning disability? Like a lot of them fry their minds on drugs. Yeah, they're crazy. They're fucking, it's hard to talk to those people because they're just fucking on some shit. Even if they're sober, their mind's just geared in ways we can't even imagine. But sadly, there's a lot of people born into families who just couldn't support someone who needs that much support, whether it's a learning disability, a form of autism. There's just so many things. And it's crazy how many of these videos, these people have one of those disabilities where they're so sad. This one, an 18-year-old kid, the video is 10 years old, so God knows what happened to him. But he's 18 years old, and he said his mom made him go to a shelter because she couldn't take care of him anymore. And so this kid's 18 with probably the mental, I don't want to say capacity, but the mental degree of a 14-year-old. I think he said that. And the crazy thing about these people too is just because they have these things, it all comes down to awareness. They could be better off than someone who's completely, their mind is free of any disability. But if they have no self-awareness, like it's crazy how much self-awareness matters. And this kid, if he had just had people around him supporting him, he could have done some good shit. He just knew watching this interview. And, yeah, instead he's in the middle of this parking lot hoping to get food stamps, talking to this random stranger who came up to interview him. And the kid saying like, yeah, the teachers at school all said that I was slow at learning and I can't keep a job because no one wants to take the time to teach me. But if they would just take the time to teach me, I can learn. Like, he just knew he needs a little more time, and no one was willing to give him this time. It just hit me so differently than any other video. The fact it was 10 years old too, because now that kid's 30. He's not a kid anymore. He's going to be a 30-year-old guy, roughed up on the street, and no one will know his story. He'll just be another grungy-looking guy you have to avoid because he might be crazy, or he might have an illness, or just some crazy shit. And, you know, sadly, that side of it is true. But that's why these matters are important, you know. Of course, the Defund the Homeless. It's supposed to be a sarcastic title. I want to help them more than anything. And it's scary that the number of them are steadily growing. And we're getting a lot of new wave homeless people where they are living in cars and dumping trash here. Because sadly, their fucking families are just people who one paycheck away from keeping their apartment, they missed it, and now bam, suddenly Wednesday night, they're fucking homeless, or they have a car at least, but still. And, you know, I have a hard time pinning blame, because it's like, fuck, what would anyone do? Still coming here, trying to avoid people. They could fling their trash anywhere. They choose a place no one can see it. So it shows to me that they are good people. And it's a shame that we can't do more to help them. It's even worse shame is that people who are getting help by our fucking system are the worst of the worst. What this weird turn recently, I can't even say 2019, probably been like 2018. I started noticing this first signs of criminal, I have another good term, but fucking just being okay, like allow criminals to do what they want. Criminal casualness, maybe that's criminal casualness, if that even makes sense. But this idea that criminals are, it's not their fault they're doing what they're doing. It's got to be something wrong with the system. And, you know, I'm not even referring to anything. It could be anyone who does anything. I was reading YouTube comments of just a video that's indefensible. This man runs into a dinner. His family is having a dinner. Ooh. Damn. The weight of it hit me. I'm just remembering watching this story. But the little boy at the dinner table sitting with his family in his high chair. This guy runs in with a gun, starts firing. I'm not sure if he hit anyone with the initial spray of bullets. But as everyone jumps to the floor, the kid's in the high chair, and everyone's on the floor, and the mom says, "Please don't shoot my son." The guy looks at her, shoots her kid twice in the head. And that was the second assassination of a young boy in his home. And it was just awful. So I am watching this. I go to the comments because you always want to resonate with some people who might have some well put together thoughts to say. And I'm a fan of dark humor. I'll say heinous shit. I'm very toned down for this podcast. My friends watching would know. And I think it should be that way. You shouldn't always be this cynical shitbag at all times. And I do enjoy the simplicity of just being a bit more mindful in how I talk and think. But these comments on these videos, they're not even jokes. You can tell they're just deeply, just odd hatred for some reason. And I try not to get political, but a large part of why these people were even defending this guy who did this was because he happened to be a African American civilian. And people need to realize that that's a problem. It doesn't matter what color the person is, but as soon as there's people defending, I know the difference between a joke. And there's people out there with no purpose or points in their lives who'll take the extreme end of any argument just to be the one who's different. And it's just some weird fucking thing, some weird ground to take. But just saying that, I think the jokes were there. The jokes are the ones that were saying, maybe the kid deserved it. Haha, haha. Yeah, the 4-year-old deserved it. You know, it's good dark humor, good Reddit post. But then there's ones out there where it's saying, like, I hope he only gets 5 years, or who knows what led him to do this. We can't always blame the person. And I'm like, this is something you can't take the blame off their hands. The fact that people are just looking for these just such shitty excuses, and it's awful, and it's only going to get worse, which is what's sad and scary. This idea that criminals are misunderstood, which they are. No one's saying they're fucking not. Obviously they're misunderstood. We're trying to figure out why the fuck people do these things. And it's odd now that the government, not even the government, just this new turn in life is siding with criminals, and it's just weird. It's really weird that the focus is not on helping people who need help, all the poor, impoverished families in America, all the people struggling to make ends meet, all the time and focus that could be going into improving areas like that, things that matter, that would help people around you, people's daily, momentary lives. But instead it all gets brushed under the rug because pedophiles don't want to be in prison as long. It's like, fuck you. How did this become sorry if I get agitated. But that was something that made me very mad recently, that the courts were working on a way to get, I'm pretty sure it was pedophiles who were anything but straight. So whatever the hell that spectrum is, any person who happened to fondle kids and wasn't a fucking straight person has an opportunity to get a lower sentencing. And the big question is just why? Why is that an important issue now? We're helping the worst people of society. Why not doing something more for the victims? You know, I can't talk out of my ass and say what needs to be done there, but surely that time being put into passing all that bullshit could have done some good. And the people doing it probably know it. And this is what people got to be careful of. There's a reason. There's always a reason for stuff. I can't go out and say what the reason is, but there's the people making this stuff happen. No, maybe they're pedophiles and they want lower sentencings for themselves if they get caught. But no, I think a majority of them, they're trying to turn the tide, and all these little insignificant things, they're making people so worried about race, gender. They're playing identity politics like a flute, and these kids are dancing to this music, man. They love it. They love this radical wave, and everyone needs to be very wary of what these issues mean. There's not people out there, there's no moral standing on gay pedophiles needing a lesser sentence. That makes no sense. And so it's like, okay, if that's not the point, then if these people, if that doesn't matter at all, then why would they be trying to do this? And it's like, well, they're trying, in my opinion, they're trying to create a shockwave. They don't want stability in anybody's lives. You, me, your mom, dad, cousins, friends. They don't want any form of stability. No form of peaceful dialogue. There needs to be a new topic, a new issue to constantly disrupt our lives. And that's why I'm out in the canyon. I'm like, guys, escapism, you got to get away from it. It's what they want you to do. And sadly, they fucked us in school. They really screwed us in school. Me and my friends make the joke, we didn't get infected with the bullshit. Like, because our minds just went there. I was never a disruptive student. I learned quickly that you can't be a disruptive student and get away with cheating. You know, in elementary school, the kids causing chaos were also the kids the teachers were catching during class time or homework time, just you copied the homework. I can easily tell. You have the same answers. So I was like, well, shit. I didn't have the outgoing personality either to be a disruptive kid. I did find them funny at times. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sure everyone did, but there are other times I got annoyed. But I was like, well, shit, I gotta do what I can do then. And for me, that was cheating and just, I don't know, kids would always talk, oh, just focus in class. I never knew what people meant. I was always focused on something else, like imagination, just drawings, just nothing ever class-oriented was on my mind. And I can look back on that, and once that starts happening, elementary school is pretty easy. The kids who were learning to bullshit learned what not to do by the mistakes they made. I never got caught, but there were times where I was, worried handwriting didn't look too similar, questions were too similar. So you figure out your own way of getting around the system, and in middle school you really put it to the test, what you can and can't get away with. And like, God, there'd be times, a project I had a month to do on, the final night, I'm piecing together this bullshit, and somehow I'd come away with an 83, an 85, sometimes an A. Ooh, shit. Something just came rustling from those bushes. But no, it was just this odd way of learning by not learning, and I took it with me into high school, and eventually it was awesome. That's how all of my friends found each other. We all gravitated through our similarities, and one thing I think it really taught me was, and even senior year, I remember being in my English class, the first time I really had to focus was for some reading project, and we at the time I didn't know what it was, but I learned later it was like, there's no better way to put it, it was feminist poetry. And it could have been a good thing, maybe, but at the time, all the kids, all the guys in the class, because we were using computers at the time, so you can leave each other comments on Google Docs and shit, and we're just like, what is this? No one understood what was going on besides the teacher and the other more radical leading girls at the time who wanted this type of stuff, but we endured it for the final 3 weeks of the semester. And it didn't occur to me after the fact, 2 years later, me and my friends are reflecting, and we're like, holy shit, guys, that's when, that little moment when we came up for air and just kind of looked around and saw what we were doing in the haze of senior year, and this is what was being taught to kids who are really focusing and paying attention. We were just on the outskirts, ignoring all the bullshit that was happening. I think it's interesting that again, there's a lot of smart kids, a lot of smart friends I had who were AP students, honor students. So I don't mean them as a whole, but it is weird that the majority of these more radical people on either side of the spectrum, you know. Jesus Christ. More wrestling. But on either side of the spectrum, Democratic, conservative, but they were really in that group that 4.0 or AP classes, whatever the else shit they did, extracurricular activities, is that something? But, and it's because they're the most absorbed in school, and sadly, it infected, I don't want to say infected, because there's a lot of kids who got through it and were impervious to the bullshit. That's a new word I learned, impervious. But it didn't affect them. A lot of those kids were my friends who were in all the sports, in all the ASB, but just really good guys. And even now, today, I can say like they're the ones that came out on the positive end of it. But I can look on social media and just see the other kids who are probably in those smart classes, the smart kid classes with them, and they're just this total, just, I don't even know, just, you know, not that I ever even would talk to them, but I know there's no point because they're so, their thinking is they know something I don't. And their approach to debates is almost like they take the comedic end, like it's funny because they're so right. They can have this sense of humor going about it because they'll, oh, these people will never know what I know anyways. What's the point? And it's such a lazy approach. Talk about a stick man argument. It's like a stick man personality, but it's just like these endless, for those of you who don't know what a stick man argument is, just a argument someone puts up against you that they'll easily win to make it seem like they're the stronger of the two. So like, fuck, say you have a man, I don't even know a good way of thinking on one on the moment. I took a government class senior year, so that's where all my government information comes from. But yeah, I guess a good example would be, say, someone's having a debate and the person has a history of failed businesses and they've acknowledged this. Oh, failed. Yeah, I didn't. This business of mine failed, and they've acknowledged it. It's public knowledge. And if the person they're debating gets backed in a corner, they'll bring it up along with a couple other slander points to make it seem like they have a case. But anyone who knows like, oh, this is just a nothing burger. You can Google search this and it's not as heavy as this guy is laying it on. But yeah, there's a really interesting debacle with school. And my takeaway, I went to community college after my high school years, and luckily my professors there were good until they weren't. It was very clear when they were pushing their own ideas onto us, and I'm not fond of that type of mental play. And you know, the sad thing is you can't call them out on it because you're there for a grade. As much as I want to call them out on the bullshit, if I'm on a C and I need a B, I need them to view me as a student who deserves that B. And sadly, that means I have to give in to their whatever ideologies they're pressing. Not fully. I'll never bend my knee. But I just have to be quiet. You know, I'm not vocal in the class. I'm there for the grade. And that's how the end of my community college span has been. But at the start, it was actually pretty enjoyable, the classes I was taking. I had two teachers actually. My philosophy and my English 1C teacher were very on track with what was happening in the world. And my English teacher would always make jokes about how he is gonna not destroy the system from the inside, but just like some heinous shit because he didn't like his peers around him. And but no, it's just sad that in high school you're so distracted by what's happening, you don't even realize that these thoughts are being put into your head and other people's heads and how they're going to affect you 3-4 years later after you graduate. And I don't think it's an intentional thing done by all teachers. Some of them it definitely is. And if they say it isn't, they're lying 100%. But there's definitely teachers out there who their only goal is to infect kids with radical ideologies. And that's a fucking crime in itself, in my opinion. Sorry, I had to relocate. I spent too long in that little nice wooded area. But this is the residue I'm gonna have to leave behind, unfortunately, because my bag is filling up. Let's see if I can make it down the side of this without falling. See, it's not too bad, but the average person will struggle. Holy shit, I might struggle. Wouldn't that be great? Stumble down the ravine into a road, just get plowed by a truck full of high school kids. My head flies above their windshield. The girlfriend with her head out the window just gets red misted in the face. And no, that's awful. It's probably happened though. Jesus Christ. Mine take it there. No, I just cleaned up all along this edge, all along in here. I got a trunk full of trash already. I really don't know where I'm gonna put it all. Oh, some nice mountain views. But anyways, yeah, just going back to school. That wonderful place. Take me back, man. Take me back. I want to be back in the bullshit, brewing in it. No, it's a really, and I do think it's a good thing. It's sad it's taking this turn where every class you take, to a certain degree, there's going to be some twist or idea in it that... Well, I made it back to my car. Sorry, unfortunately my physical abilities aren't as strong as I hoped for. I had to carry these bags with 2 hands. But I have carried a lot of trash today in my defense, so I'm just a little on the sore and weaker end. Hopefully I'm not really that weak yet. But in here, oh my god, this is the findings earlier. Shit, I'll have to keep this up. But yeah, a couple pillows in here. We got probably 3 right there. Whole bag of trash. 2 of these fucking couch cushions. There's a whole fucking couch down there that I just can't bring. Not that I fucking even could if I wanted to, but yeah, weird box that usually I leave the cool little things people bring, but during this point in time I was so disappointed I had to just take it. I'm going for a full fucking clean out. Fuck. Get my car unlocked here. Yeah. I'll show you guys that devastating area. I'm trying not to have each podcast run as long. Keep it a nice, shorter video. There we go. Oh, my gloves. I'll show you guys the inside of this ravine really quick. Cleaned it out a fair bit. Missed a few things, but I'll be back. It's going to take a lot longer to finish this all like I had originally thought. Oh, hopefully my keys are in here. There we go. Alrighty. I'm going to take you on a ride along. I'll just drive up to the next point. But going back to those teachers, man, those fucking teachers, a lot of them are good people, really good people. I would know for a fact. My mom's a teacher. But I also know that my mom would probably agree with what I'm saying, because they're on the side of the minority, the few that know it's gotten worse and it's only going to get worse, and it's a question of how bad will it get. Oh, I'll come back for those jugs off camera. But yeah, it's just a matter of how bad is it gonna get. So in my opinion, if I'm lucky enough to have kids in my life, I'm not gonna feel comfortable sending them to public school if it keeps this thing. Oh my god, oh my god! Just kidding. Crash my car on camera. Oh, great. Oh, fucking great. It's happening right in front of me. That's the area I want to clean, and there's a fucking guy with trash bags. Jesus. No, it's not his fault. But, yeah, these teachers, and just school in general, we have to be very careful. I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm not saying detest high school and get bad grades. You gotta play the system, man. If you're a kid right now who's in a class and you know the class is trying to get to you or feed you knowledge you don't want, you just have to play them like they're trying to play you. Make them the flute. God, a lot of my teachers are good people, and I only email the ones that I enjoy talking to. But the ones I've had to email because of a grade or something, you know, I can't come out, not even passive aggressive, but you want to make it seem like you've agreed with them, you understand, and it's just a shame that after all this learning and knowledge they've given you, bestowed upon you so graciously, that you just couldn't get the final part. And it's just sad, for one, that I have to do that. So I make it around this turn. I'll take you guys up the side of the mountain. It's a really nice drive. I just have to be careful not to look at the camera as I drive. But this is why I come to preserve this place. I fucking love it up here. The fact it's so close to home, the mountains are so close to you, it's almost unbeatable. And people don't realize the dirtier it is, it's going to give them an excuse to close this place down. Where else do you get just roads like this close to your home where you can drive? The more homeless people that come here, sadly, the more reason they're going to have to close it down. The more people in general. So hopefully, you know, people can just be smart and courteous. It's funny, I know there's the kids doing it, probably, oh, this goofy guy picking up trash. And a couple of years ago, you know, I'd care what people think, but now I'm just to the point where if there's people out there who think that this is possibly something to view as a weakness or a fucking, no, their words, not mine, they'd probably call me a pussy or something, just some thing. But I'm like, dude, if you really feel so tough and mighty because you get to throw trash and act like you don't give a fuck, you'd be surprised how much no, really, just think they don't, oh, I don't give a fuck, man, I don't give a fuck, like it's showing of their strong personality. But, you know, we come up here to escape at the canyon. There's plenty of things I really don't give a fuck about, I'll be honest. I gotta cut it with the language. I really don't care about some things. Here's a guy coming up ahead. He's pretty cool. Woo! Pretty cool turn. You get a nice view up here. Oh, it's funny. The only reason I bring that thing up, the I don't care type of person, is because I've been up here with those people and I watched them litter. Or if they weren't in my group, they were a couple cars down, and you know, I can just hear, and like, I just get it. I get it. They did it in high school. They're going to continue to do it now. Just this idea that they are a badass and common courtesy is below them because of how bad of an ass they are. I'm just like, dude, look at that. Just see? And it's just those little things. Yeah, you don't give a fuck. Well, cool, dude. And you probably won't give a fuck. Sad thing. If this place gets closed down, they wouldn't care. They'd find a new place to go ransack, destroy. Just pull off right here. They'd find another place to go ransack and destroy. And it wouldn't matter to them. And so, yeah. Sadly for them, you know, I do give a fuck. And sadly for me, they don't. And that's why I'm here, cleaning up their messes. But if it preserves this for any longer, then it's a victory. It's a fucking win as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I guess I'll probably do closing thoughts up here. It's a nice viewpoint to end. But I guess to wrap up, you know, homeless people, they're unappealing. Have to be honest, you know, it's unappealing people, unappealing problem to deal with. But it's a problem, and it's slowly becoming, it already is, fuck, the modern home dwellers problem. And we can either keep ignoring it, view them as these people who deserve it or can't get help anyways. It's only going to get worse. We have to do our part to, you know, give people reasons to want to come back into society, to integrate back into their families. And yeah, and as for school, fuck guys, it's going to be weird if what they say is true. Something like 30% of colleges are expected to close soon. And, you know, not your UCLAs, USCs, but those little city colleges that you never fucking hear about until someone goes there. You're like, where is that? Those colleges just aren't going to make it. And this idea that it isn't a scam, college is definitely a scam if you get scammed by it, you know? It's how you use it to benefit yourself. You can easily get scammed out of a degree. Think of all the kids, art degrees, film degrees, things that can be useful, but careers that you can go into without a college degree. If you're talented enough, you don't need a degree in art degrees, entertainment degrees, but those are out there because they want kids paying for $200,000 art schools. They need that income. They need it. And that's where the bullshit comes. They don't tell kids, like, it's not that we want you to go here. We fucking need you to. Please keep us open. Your degrees, that's why they're so expensive. It's just ridiculous that college is taught as this thing that's right for every kid. And that's why I have so much disdain for high school. So many kids got pushed on this wave of college is for you. You need to go. And I only ended up at community college because, thank God, one of my friends who was, you know, didn't come from a family who could afford college at the time, sadly, was in the community college programs at lunch. I didn't know about them. They fucking just didn't think it would be right for me. And it was totally right for me, a kid who didn't pay attention. But honestly, I was so good at bullshitting them, they probably thought I was perfect for college. They probably thought I met every criteria on their little checkboard list. And sadly, that's where you see a lot of kids, a lot of people fucked up. And one of their biggest first fuck-ups is going unprepared to college, rushing into it just because everyone else was doing it in high school. Don't feel that need to do it. And if you're in it now, don't let it, you know, weigh down on you. If you are someone in debt already, this and that, it's not the end of the world, but the first step is being aware of it, being aware of how bad it is and who made it this way. It probably is all on you, but which is the sad thing. You have to take that self-responsibility. But there are coming back from it. You can get through college, you know, successfully, immune to all the bullshit that could have happened to you. And it does happen. But it's something we all got to approach very carefully in our young lives, even older lives. There's always going to be underlining reasons for why people want us to go where, do certain things, and college is no different. But I guess on that note, guys, and take in this lovely mountaintop, this lovely scenery, and until you hear from me again, this is EC from the Alterian Digest, signing off. You gonna go frolic away? No? Oh, come on, you need fresh air, just a little bit. Go run on the grass. Go run on the grass, come on. There's nothing to be scared. So what happens when you have an indoor cat? He doesn't want to go outside, but needs to, because she's gaining weight. Come on, it's for a little bit. Don't growl at me. Come on. There's nothing over there. Look at it. You can go play. I'm just gonna sit on the doorstep. Come on. At least go on the grass. Yeah. Attempt 2. I'll come later. You go inside.